listening to talk radio this morning, and there was a woman who was on who said her husband has a very same disease and is still alive 3 years after being diagnosed.
Right.
So some of the families are not happy about this, that he is getting out of jail, believing that he could actually live a long time even at his home.
Right.
And they don't like it, Diana.
Right.
Absolutely. It's an incredibly controversial decision. You have families here and in the U.S. who some of them on one side saying this man should never be released. He did not show compassion to my loved ones who died in December 1988. Why should we show him compassion? On the other hand, you have those who doubt his guilt, who say that not all the facts in this case add up and that they're not sure that even if he was partially guilty, that he could ever have acted alone. Lockerbie, the bombing itself was too big to have simply been a conspiracy of one.
Right.
Scottish Justice Minister Kenny McCaskill did say, I am never going to be able to square the circle here. I have consulted every interested party, all family members that I possibly can, and unfortunately I will never be able to satisfy all parties. He said that he was acting in a purely judicial function here, that this request for compassionate release could be granted because it satisfied judicial criteria, and that Scotland as a society was based upon values and beliefs that mean that they should show compassion and mercy irrespective of the crime committed, Don.
Right. So I learned it. I lived in Scotland.
It's pretty near. I'm not exactly sure
Here
where
in
you
Hawes and
are,
Alpha
Diana,
by Sterling.
You know, to this location, how far you are, but it seems to be pretty busy behind you. We're looking at a helicopter shot of a police van there arriving very close. I believe that is the gate of a prison. Yes, very close to the prison walls. There's looks like a police escort in the van.
You should let every dying inmate out if they let this one
A lot
out.
of folks are gathered.
All right.
Absolutely. We'll just pan around again to see what we can see here. You can see some of those policemen, the same police force who were actually involved that night 20 years ago when the Lockerbie bombing happened, one of the smallest police forces in Britain. So you can imagine the reinforcements that were required back then. You have a lot of interested Greenock residents. They've been holding up banners saying things like, good riddance, Al McGrahy, it's time you went home. But interestingly, a lot of them have said, we believe that he was innocent. So again, even here at Greenock, that sentiment reflected. What we expect to happen shortly is that he will come out in a cavalcade from here and go to Glasgow Airport, where he will be transferred straight to Tripoli, straight into the arms of his family. But he is effectively, as of now, a free man, having served only 8 years of a 27-year life sentence, Don.
Yeah,
what a lucky man.
Boy,
what a lucky man.
Christmas in 1988, and most Americans who are of age remember this.
I remember.
The horrific pictures that came out of Lockerbie, Scotland. And some say that this was really
lived up there.
what led to the demise of Pan Am Airways, that they couldn't recover after this crash. But that video, the pictures from back then, Diana, I'm sure you remember that town in Lockerbie, Scotland, the explosion and the trees, and I mean, very sadly, there you see some of the
horrible
footage there live on our screen, and then there was, in trees you could see, sadly, clothing, parts of the plane hanging, and then there's the nose of the plane there, and a lot of this stuff landing in people's yards.
Right.
It was really a horrific sight when you bring it back to people so that they can remember this, and you can see why there is some outrage concerning this, Diana.
Well, just if you do for one, do for all. Let them all out. That's it. That's dying. Let them all out. Be nice. Be compassionate to all people.
Describe the kind of blazing inferno that they had seen with their own eyes, and the sheer scale of this, the sheer area that had to be searched. 845 square miles to look for personal possessions, body parts. There were bodies scattered within a 6-mile radius of the crash site. It really was a horrific incident, the UK's worst ever terrorist atrocity. And interestingly, you go to Lockerbie now and there are some very calm memorial gardens, nothing that would suggest the crater that the body of that 747 jet airliner made in what was effectively a suburban crescent, houses literally having been obliterated, people's remains never found. Such was the chaos and the carnage of that night. Now, there are many people who come every day to visit those memorial gardens and to pay their respect to the victims, to the 270 victims killed. But Lockerbie itself is a peaceful place, and the people we spoke to said, irrespective irrespective of what happens to al-Megrahi now, this will never help those people who died on our Scottish fields. Better to show him compassion than to show him revenge, Don.
But there are doors are opening. And
beautiful
see,
country. Wow, he's leaving. He's going free. Let all the prisoners free that are dying. Let them all out. He's only getting out because it's a big political thing.
He's expected to live only for about 3 more months, and according to the
let's track to see how long he lives.
He said that he ordered a release because
God, I miss
he believed that the man needed to die at
I
home,
miss
and that
Britain.
the laws of this country dictated that. Our justice system demands that justice
Going
be
home.
imposed by
He is one
available.
happy man
That our
today.
beliefs dictate that
Free.
justice be served.
His family is happy. He probably got blamed for the whole
So,
thing.
again, I would
Put
imagine
it all on
that
him.
the family
Like
feels
one
that the man
person did
is,
that. Yeah.
is moving away from the prison, and so
There's so much going on. There's
Abdel,
people
that's
in Fall Guys. Everybody that goes to jail is dying like this man should be released now. This should be the start of a worldwide epidemic. Release everybody that's dying in jail. Don't let anybody die in jail. If you're going to let this man out, let everybody out.
Diana, as we watch this motorcade leave the prison here, talk to us about, have you heard anything from his family? Has his family spoken out at all? Or have they been pretty quiet in all of this and respectful because of some of the victims, in respect to some of the victims, I should say?
Free man.
John, I couldn't really hear because there is rather a lot.
Boy, I know what that feels like. A week ago, I was getting out of jail. That man is a free man. Yep.
For a while now, and he looks like he's not going to now. But as you heard, when the cavalcade left, the residents of Greenock kicking up a bit of a fuss and a roar. As I said, he will now make his way to Glasgow Airport and from there back to Tripoli as a free man. John, I think we're slightly stuck here in traffic. Back to you.
Yeah, I can imagine that it's loud, and Diana, if you can just stick around and maybe it'll get a little bit quieter and you can talk to us here, because this is an unbelievable scene. I mean, this has been playing out since
Unbelievable.
1988, and as I said earlier, many people who are of age remember this horrific, really horrific bombing over Lockerbie, Scotland, and the pictures that were coming in. Pan Am, really, an iconic airline. Pan Am building in New York City, remember that? This was before that bombing, and again, some say that this led to the demise of that airline. It was the beginning of the end. On the left side of your screen there, you're looking at those horrific pictures that we talked about landing right there, or blowing up right over a residential neighborhood and the debris falling on that neighborhood. It was just amazing to see there. And on the right side of your screen, you see the motorcade leaving the prison, going to Glasgow Airport, and then it's believed that Megrahi will go to Tripoli to be with his family, where doctors say he only has 3 months to live.
I'm happy for him being out.
And as we know,
every inmate get out of jail. I only have 3 months left. That's what I'm upset about. Like, if you're going to let one out, let them all out.
And according to the Justice Secretary,
they don't even give you vitamins. So they tell you that on the other video. I know. There needs to be someone fighting for inmates' rights, but it's not right. This man gets let out, and the other one gets to die in there. That's not right.
Very loud.
Who else gets the political whole country's back? I mean, just think how much money was spent on deciding whether he should be free or not.
I'm wondering if his family has spoken out in all of this, or if
everybody needs rights like this guy. This guy has a lot of rights.
They have remained
quiet. A lot of people fighting for him. But how about all the other people dying in jail?
Diana obviously can't.
Not right.
We're going to watch the motorcade as it goes. And we cannot.
Every terminal ill person needs to get out of jail right now. Right now. August 20th, 2009. Worldwide law. I can't believe this. Inmate's happy he's free. I'd be happy too. I was happy last week. It's great to be free. So let everybody out of jail that's ill. Let them all go home to their family. Pay for it all. I mean, you know, who's paying for the flight? Who's paying? Well, probably the family. So just shut up like that, though.
His family, have they spoken out, or have they remained quiet out of respect for the victim's family?
His family, have they made any comments? The line is incredibly bad, Donna. I'm sorry about that. We haven't heard any comments from his family. In fact, we haven't heard any comments from al-Megrahi himself. All we know is that McCaskill went to see him earlier this month and confirmed that he was indeed extremely ill, as his doctors have said, only weeks to live. Now back with his family, or on his way to his family, 5 children and a wife in Tripoli.
So America, how many dying people are in jail now?
To talk to them about how they felt about his possible release. Let's take a look.
Let every dying family out. And every family member, let them out so they can be with their family and die with their family.
Pan Am Flight 103.